Have you ever had this awkward situation where someone says, "What's up?" and you say, "I'm good." Or maybe they say, "How are you?" and you say, "Not much." And you feel kind of confused. How should I answer these very common questions? It can be so awkward if you don't know or if you forget. In this video, that's what we're going to focus on. How do you answer these questions? What are the different ways that you can answer? And how can you remember how to answer immediately so that you don't have to think? So if you have any questions as we go, leave those in the comments. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And now let's get into it. How do we answer these extremely common questions? How are you? What's going on? So simple, right? And yet, if you don't know how to quickly answer these and you get kind of stuck, it can cause some awkwardness, right? Plenty of times I've interacted, especially with English learners, I've interacted with someone who gives the opposite answer because they get mixed up. And it's not because they don't know, but it's because it's not a habit. So the key thing is once you learn to make it a habit, right? To remember one type of question is asking one type of thing, and the other type of question is asking another type of thing. So how are you? And what's going on? They're asking two different types of things. But what I want you to pay attention to is simply the words how and what. This is your key, okay? This is your key. If you hear the word how, you're going to be answering, usually in these conversational situations, you're going to be answering about feelings. You're going to be answering about your inside state, let's say. And if you hear what, then you're going to be answering about things happening, things that did happen, things that are happening, right? Maybe things that will happen. Events instead of feelings, okay? So how is for feeling, and what is for events, things happening or going on. And I say this because there are different forms of how and what questions. And they're all kind of doing the same thing. How are you? How's it going? How are things? How's work? How's business? How's the family? How are the kids? What's going on? What are you doing? What's happening? What's new? What's good? Again, what have you been up to these days? All of these are also very similar. Many different forms, but they're really just two different types. The how questions and the what questions. So I hope actually that's the main thing. If you just remember that, you're going to be in good shape. Just remember there are two main types, even though there are lots of different questions. Now, let's get into specifically how are you and how we can answer how are you naturally, okay? Remember, we're talking about feelings. So if someone says, how are you? Don't say, hi. Say instead, I'm good. I'm okay. Not bad. Fantastic. Great. So-so. Fine. Could be better. Amazing. All of these are how you feel, right? Right now. So if you say, I'm good, thanks. How about you? That would be probably the most common thing to say. If you say, I'm fine, thank you, and you, that's a little too, it's a little too formal for most situations, and it's not the best way to reply. I'm fine, thank you, and you sounds like you're stiff and not very relaxed. I'm good, thanks. How about you? Sounds more relaxed. This is the best way to answer. Now, should you still say I'm good if you're not good? What if you're not good? It really depends on the situation. If you say to someone, not good, if you don't know them well and you're just passing them in the workplace or quickly, or you walked up to the counter at 7-Eleven and someone says, how are you? And you say, not great. This situation is not appropriate. It's not the best time for you to unload your problems. And so sometimes just saying, I'm good, thanks, is like a head nod. It's not a real question about how you are. It's almost like a greeting. It is a greeting. Okay, so just be aware. Sometimes you want to talk about how you really feel, and sometimes you want to just do a quick thing because it's a quick interaction and you don't want to really get into a conversation, and it's more like a hi sort of thing, right? So generally, I'm good, thanks. How about you? It's just polite to say, right? And they'll say, I'm good, even if they're not good, right? You could say, I'm doing well, thank you. Do you have to say, how about you? No, you don't have to, right? But it's often polite as a sort of exchange, right? Thank you. How about you? Now you could say, how about you? Or you can say, how are you? If they say, for example, how's it going? Then instead of saying, how are you? You could say, how about you? Or you could say, how's it going with you? You would repeat back the question based on what you were asked, right? So if someone says, how's it going? You would then say, how's it going with you? Or for anything, you can just say, how about you? Or if it's less formal, you? That's less formal. Just be aware of that. So how about you? And you are really great. So not bad. How are you? How about you? You? Each one has a slightly different feeling, more or less formal. Just be aware of that. Okay? Not bad is okay to say, I think. Not bad doesn't mean bad. It's just like saying, right? How about less formal ways to say this? Again, you is less formal, so I'm good. I'm good, you. I'm good, you. Very quick, right? This is maybe something you would use with a friend or in a very casual interaction. Been better. This is where you might want to start a conversation or have a conversation. If someone says, how are you? And you say, I've been better. Been better means not that good. And they might say, oh, really? Why not? Then you might talk about it. This might be a real question to find out about how you really are. Don't ask. That means really bad. Now, that doesn't mean don't ask. It means please ask, maybe. It just means not good, really bad, in fact. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how are you? Don't ask. What's going on? They asked. So that's often okay, because don't ask means I'm not doing very good, right? Or it means let's talk about it later. This, again, you would probably use with someone you know pretty well, someone you may want to have that conversation with later. Hey, what was going on this afternoon? Oh, I was just so busy and so stressed. I didn't have any time to talk. I'm sorry about that. And I was really not in a good mood. Oh, okay. Okay. So that might be something to talk about later. So that's a really good one. But again, probably something you would use with someone you know pretty well, a friend, maybe a colleague. Okay? How about what's going on? What's going on? Well, what's going on could be there's a problem. There's an emergency. What's going on? Why is everyone running around? But conversationally, what's going on means what are you doing? What is happening here in this situation? So just be aware that sometimes you'll hear this used in a more urgent situation where I don't know the situation. I need someone to tell me quickly so that maybe I can help. Everyone's running around screaming. What's going on? The toaster caught fire. Get some water. Don't throw water on a toaster. There you might want to see what you can do to help. But generally, in a social situation, now you're being asked a what question. So you're talking about things you're doing, things you were doing, things that are happening. So instead, now we say, instead of I'm good, we say not much. Just working on some reports. You? Not much is a very common answer to what are you doing? What's going on? Or what's up? What's up? Hey, what's up? This is very conversational, and it is similar to how are you in that often it's just used as a hey, what's up? Not much. So if you hear someone quickly say to you as they're passing you by, hey, what's up? Don't say, well, I'm currently writing some reports about this, and then after that I'm going to have a pickle and eggplant sandwich on toasted rye. No. In that situation, you want to say, not much. You? And they say, yeah, same old, same old. We'll get to that in a second. That's just a very quick back and forth. Just like, how are you? Good. You? Pretty good. See you later, right? It's a very quick thing. So just be aware of the situation. You don't always want to go into a lot of detail in the same way that with how are you, you don't always want to say, oh, I'm not having a very good day, you know? So be aware of the situation. Sometimes you do want to talk about what you're doing, though. What's going on? Just catching up on some emails. How about you? How about you? Notice we can use the same question that we used with the how questions. How about you? Very useful. Think of how about you as a tennis racket or a ping pong paddle. This is one of the most powerful things that you have to simply return whatever question you were asked back to the other person to show that you want them to answer too. So if they say, how are you? Or if they say, what's going on? And you answer, then you just say, how about you? What you're doing is hitting it back. That's it. Very, very useful, right? Now, if you want to make it very conversational, use just. If you want to make it slightly less conversational, don't use just. So you could say just catching up on some emails or catching up on some emails. It's the same thing, just feels a little more conversational. Now, less formal, you could say same old, same old, same old, same old, which means nothing new. And you could say nothing new. And just like we talked about with our other less formal ones, you, same as, how about you? Just a little bit less formal. Just hanging out. You, hanging out. What am I doing? Hanging out. Nothing. I'm not doing anything special. You, right? Nothing. How about you? Now notice there, when I say that, very informal instead of nothing. Does that mean nothing? No, it doesn't mean nothing because I'm always doing something, but I'm not doing anything special, right? I'm just kind of walking around the house, making pickle and, what did I say? Something on rye, eggplant on rye sandwiches. That could be nothing. Actually, anything could be nothing. It's just a way to respond. And often people will say nothing instead of nothing. And instead of saying, how about you? They'll say very casually, how about you? How about instead of about. Just be aware of that. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm saying that's something that you will often hear. Okay? So that's it. Again, the key takeaway is I want you to remember how and what questions. These are the two groups. These are the two groups. How and what. How and what. And also remember, sometimes these are going to be simple social interactions that aren't really conversation starters. Things that you would say when you're passing someone by, right? Both of these can be. And in those cases, you don't want to say too much. You don't want to say something that's going to make the other person feel like they have to ask more, right? So be aware of those situations, but also know that in some situations you want to say, I'm pretty well, but you want to add a little detail to start a conversation. Or, in the case of the what questions, you want to say, I'm actually swamped right now working on X, Y, and Z, and maybe get some help with that. Maybe actually explain what is going on in some detail. So they're very flexible, very useful. If you have any questions about these, let me know in the comments. If you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And also, get a free course, Natural English Conversations, in the links in the description.